I realized my neighbors were running a weird business when I smelled vanilla at 2 a.m.
Okay, imagine this. You're fast asleep. It's maybe, 2 a.m. And you wake up, and there's this smell. Vanilla. Sweet. Sort of comforting. Sounds pretty harmless, doesn't it? Like someone's baking late. But what if that smell, especially happening then, actually hints at something? Well, something much weirder, maybe even unsettling happening right next door.
That's a great way to put it, because it's fascinating how just one simple thing like a smell can, spiral. It can become this whole mystery. So today we're jumping into this really compelling story. It's a first-hand account. Came from Reddit, actually. User YouBackyardColdBrew on the Sir Let's Not Meet forum. And our plan really is to take you through this person's experience, how their suspicion about their new neighbors just grows and grows. And yeah, it all starts with that vanilla scent.
Right. And this isn't just some funny story about odd neighbors. It's almost a lesson in picking up on tiny clues. Things that start small but then build up. They escalate into this real feeling of unease, maybe even paranoia. So as we go through this, we really want you to think. Put yourself in their shoes. What would you do? What would you think? Okay, so let's paint the picture here. This wasn't just, smelling vanilla once. No, this smell, and they described it as strong, almost like a chemical, like a really overpowering air freshener. It started happening every few nights, always late, usually after midnight. And then by mid-July, it was like routine, 3, maybe even 4 nights a week.
Oh.
And always with this background noise, a low humming sound, like machinery.
Industrial hum, yeah.
Exactly. And the sound of glass bottles clinking together.
Right. Yeah, see, it's the pattern, isn't it? That consistency. That's what shifts it from just, oh, that's quirky, to, hang on, what's actually going on? An industrial hum, clinking bottles. In the middle of the night, your brain immediately goes somewhere else, right? Not baking. You start thinking about scale. What kind of home operation needs that sort of setup? And at those hours.
Totally. And then it gets even stranger. The neighbor, the original poster, calls him Brent.
Yeah.
He's spotted outside at 1:15 in the morning, and he's wearing latex gloves, carrying what looked like a big 5-gallon bucket into his garage.
Latex gloves and a bucket at 1 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, so you could just feel the original poster thinking, right, what is this? Are they making drugs? Is vanilla somehow connected to drugs? Apparently, a quick Google search didn't clear that up much, but then a pizza delivery guy messes up, goes to the wrong house, and our observer gets this full-on blast of that really strong vanilla smell straight from the neighbor's open garage.
Yeah.
And they see inside shelves, just lined with identical brown glass bottles, rows and rows of them.
Ah, okay. So seeing it, that's a real turning point. It's not just smells and sounds anymore. Now there's visual evidence. You see the bottles, you see the crates they mentioned later, and then come the deliveries. These huge cardboard boxes arriving in bulk, and they're specifically marked fragile liquids. Big letters.
Right. Big, fragile liquids boxes.
And when the other neighbor, Lisa, is asked about it, she gives this, vague smile, says they do extracts, pure vanilla, really high-end stuff.
High-end stuff, yeah.
But that gut feeling the observer had, it just doesn't go away. I mean, who makes gallons of vanilla extract in their garage at 2 a.m.? And why all the secrecy? Why the specific fragile liquids labels for vanilla? It feels off.
Exactly. And that's when, they start digging online a bit more and the last piece clicks. The really unsettling piece. It turns out that vanilla extract, the pure stuff, can be up to 35% alcohol by volume. Ethanol.
35%.
Yes. That's a lot of alcohol if you're making it in bulk. Right there in your garage next door.
Absolutely. And this is where the story really takes a turn, I think. When you talk about 35% ABV, it's not just about baking flavor anymore, is it? Handling ethanol, especially in those sorts of quantities in a residential place, well, there are risks, big risks. Flammability, for one, ventilation becomes critical. And there are often, serious regulations, rules about handling and storing that kind of stuff, things that go way beyond just making some high-end vanilla.
Right. It's not just about cookies at that point.
Not at all. It just shows how something seemingly innocent can involve some pretty complex chemistry and potential dangers when scaled up.
And then, the final twist, which is almost the creepiest part. Just 2 weeks before the post, 2 new people show up, never seen before, silent. Yeah. And they're seen late at night loading these large plastic tubs into the garage. And then, suddenly, nothing. For a whole week, the vanilla smell completely disappears.
Silence.
Yeah. And it's that sudden absence, that quiet that just feels loud, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Chilling.
It really does.
Yeah.
So if we sort of step back and connect these points, we started with curiosity, right? A strange smell late at night, vanilla. Then it escalated. The industrial sounds, the clinking glass, the mysterious bulk deliveries marked fragile liquids, seeing those shelves of bottles, the odd visitors loading tubs in the dark. And maybe the most significant clue, realizing vanilla extract is up to 35% alcohol. That detail just reframes everything, doesn't it? That sweet smell suddenly feels potentially hazardous, like a chemical operation.
Yeah, the whole core problem becomes clear. That gut feeling the neighbor had, that Lisa's explanation of pure vanilla, really high-end stuff, just wasn't the whole story.
Well, it seems spot on. It went from being just a weird business to raising real questions about handling large amounts of ethanol in a garage, with all the risks and rules that should involve. And then capped off by that sudden unnerving silence, the smell just vanishing for a week. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Poses a question for all of us. What happens when something comforting, like the smell of vanilla, baking, gets tangled up with this deeply unsettling feeling, the feeling of a potential crime scene? And it's happening right over the fence.
Yeah. Maybe sometimes it really is better not to know what's going on next door, especially if the garage smells like dessert.
Yeah.
But the whole situation just feels wrong, feels like a crime scene. So here's the final thought for you to chew on. What would you actually do if you suspected your neighbors were making artisanal vanilla or something else entirely at 2 a.m.?
How I accidentally started a full-blown feud between my neighbors.
So picture this. A typical suburban development, just outside Columbus, Ohio, one of those Hickory Glen type places.
Oh, yeah, the kind where all the houses look the same?
Exactly. The narrator calls it a fishbowl. You see everything, you hear everything.
Right.
And this person, our narrator, they see themselves as like the quiet type, just wants to mow the lawn, keep it at a socially acceptable height, maybe not hello when getting the mail.
Uh-huh. Definitely not trying to stir the pot.
Not at all. But then there are the neighbors. Okay, so on the left, the Andersons. Apparently they're the full-size animatronic skeleton in the yard in August kind of people.
Okay, so a bit eccentric maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And then on the right, the Millers, described as aggressively normal.
Aggressively normal? What does that even mean?
Think like white SUV, always in bed by 9.3, slow cooker chili on Sundays normal. You know the type.
Ah, okay. Got it. Very predictable.
Right. And here's the real kicker, the Andersons, the Millers. They already couldn't stand each other, for reasons totally unknown to our narrator, by the way.
So a pre-existing tension. That's crucial.
Totally. So the big question is, how does one little delivery, something totally innocent, turn this already shaky situation into, well, the suburban Hunger Games?
Well, it's fascinating, isn't it, how small things, really mundane things, can just ignite these latent conflicts.
So what was the spark?
It all started when an Amazon package from Mr. Tyler Miller accidentally landed on our narrator's doorstep.
Okay, simple mistake. Happens all the time.
Right. So the narrator, trying to be helpful, takes it over to Mrs. Miller. And Mrs. Miller just casually mentions, their packages sometimes end up at the Andersons' place because the house numbers are similar.
Yeah, setting the stage.
Exactly. And then our narrator completely unintentionally steps right in it. They say something like, yeah, funny enough, I've seen a couple of Amazon boxes sitting on the Andersons' porch lately. Thought they were doing some shopping spree.
Oh, no.
Bingo. That was it. That one comment just validated every suspicion Mrs. Miller already had. It was confirmation bias hitting hard.
You can almost see it, can't you? The narrator says Mrs. Miller's eyes went cold. Like she entered another dimension, plotting something.
And the plotting started immediately. Almost overnight, the Andersons put up a security camera, and the narrator says it was angled like they're waiting for a SWAT raid.
Wow. Okay.
And then just days later, guess what? The Millers install their own camera, pointing right back at the same spot.
It's like an arms race, but with security cameras. A classic escalation.
It absolutely is. Once you feel wronged and you think you have proof, even accidental proof from a neighbor, that the need to retaliate just takes over.
And it got passive-aggressive fast, right?
Oh, textbook stuff. The Andersons started mowing their lawn super early, like 6, 4, 5 a.m. on Saturdays, right outside the Millers' bedroom window, of course.
Ouch. Subtle.
And the Millers, they fought back by leaving their outdoor floodlights on all night, aimed, you guessed it, straight into the Andersons' living room.
Man. And our poor narrator just keeps getting pulled into the middle of it.
Completely. They end up confirming something about the Millers leaving trash cans out too early, attracting raccoons.
Oh, dear.
And next thing you know, they get a copy of an HOA complaint the Andersons filed against the Millers for improper garbage storage. The narrator is now, unwilling evidence.
And the whole neighborhood started taking sides.
Yep. The Patels were apparently Team Anderson because the Millers snubbed them for a block party once.
Petty.
And the Harrisons were Team Miller because that Anderson skeleton, the one from August, it apparently traumatized their toddler.
This is getting ridiculous. So it's not even about the original issue anymore?
Not really. Becomes about loyalty and past slights. It all boiled over when Tyler Miller actually confronted Mrs. Anderson on her lawn.
What happened?
Apparently yelling about missing deliveries and having video proof all over a $40 blender.
A $40 blender?
Yep. And then Mrs. Anderson fired back, accusing the Millers of deliberately sending packages to their house. It's just, wow.
So where does that leave things now? What's the takeaway for us?
Well, the current situation is pretty bleak. Both houses now have 2 security cameras each. Two. There's the ongoing motion sensor floodlight war, and things got even nastier. Someone apparently left a fake Amazon box filled with dog poop on one of the porches.
Okay, that's crossed a line.
Definitely. And the narrator's final thought really sums it all up.
Oh, yeah.
In the suburbs, information is currency, and I'm apparently the idiot who handed out free gold.
Wow. So one offhand comment.
Exactly. It just shows the incredible ripple effect, right? Especially in these tight-knit communities where maybe people have these simmering issues already. That casual comment just became fuel for the fire.
It really makes it think.
It does, and it kind of raises a bigger question, doesn't it? How much responsibility do we actually have for the information we share, even casually? Especially when, maybe suspect. It could ignite something that's already there, just waiting for a spark.
How I accidentally became a front row witness to the most awkward proposal I've ever seen in my life.
Have you ever found yourself like an unwilling spectator to a truly cringeworthy moment? Wishing the floor would just swallow you whole. All thanks to an incredible Reddit post.
That's right. This deep dive is all about a story from You Coffee Is My Blood. The title kind of says it all. How I accidentally became a front row witness to the most awkward proposal I've ever seen in my life. And we're going to try and go beyond just the cringe, right? To see what it tells us about communication, expectations, maybe even secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, the power of secondhand embarrassment is real. And it all started so normally for the witness, just trying to get an iced latte, a blueberry muffin last Thursday morning.
Right, a totally mundane start, sets the scene, coffee shop, exposed brick, indie folk music playing, a bit damp from the rain overnight, socks already wet, just a regular day.
Or so they thought. So our witness spots this couple across the long communal table. They seem pretty normal, maybe early 30s. She's got a bright yellow cardigan, hair in a messy bun, sipping a chai latte. He's in like a office shirt, button down. Looked okay.
Totally normal on the surface, leaning in, having a quiet moment. But then there's a shift. The post mentions the guy was clearly nervous, like tapping his fingers, bouncing his leg. You know the signs?
Oh, yeah. Jiggling leg is a dead giveaway for nerves. And that's when he pulls out this tiny box, obviously jewelry size, right, from his jacket pocket.
And you can feel the witness's internal alarm bells going off. That oh no moment. They realize they're trapped. Full table, no escape. About to be an unwilling extra in whatever this is going to be.
Right, just stuck there. And the proposal itself, well, it wasn't exactly down on one knee.
No, not at all. The post says he doesn't get up. He just kind of awkwardly pushes the box across the table toward her. It's like he's sliding over a USB drive or maybe the salt.
So impersonal, you can just feel the air go out of the room. She apparently just freezes. There's this heavy silence. And then she takes a sip of her chai and asks, what are you doing?
Yeah. And his response, apparently his smile kind of falters. And he goes, proposing?
Yeah.
Like even he's not sure. The uncertainty is just painful.
Oh, absolutely. And her reaction wasn't confusion, it sounds like. It was more annoyance, resignation.
Exactly. The witness described her sigh as basically saying, we've had this conversation before, and I specifically told you no. And then she says it out loud. We talked about this. I told you I'm not ready. Why would you do this here?
Ouch. Just direct. No room for doubt there. You have to imagine the guy's face at this point. The post says, tomato red, glancing around, total mortification.
And he mutters something like, I thought it would be romantic, which just shows how badly he misread the situation or ignored it.
And her reply, just a flat, it's not. Crushing.
Absolutely brutal. And then swift exit. She just stands up, takes her drink, and leaves him, just sitting there with this little closed black box in front of him, alone.
Wow. And the rest of the coffee shop.
Collective exhale, apparently. The witness heard the guy next to them just whisper, Jesus Christ. Everyone felt it, that shared wave of awkwardness.
Yeah, you would. So the witness is left thinking, right? Pondering the big questions. Like, did he think the public setting would pressure her, force her hand, or did he genuinely, not hear her the first dozen times she said no?
I was sliding the box across the table, really the move he thought would work. It just raises so many questions about, fundamental miscommunications in relationships.
Definitely. Especially when you try a grand gesture without knowing if it's wanted.
Precisely. What's fascinating here, and kind of sad, is how it highlights this gap. The gap between what someone thinks is a romantic gesture and what the other person actually needs or wants or has explicitly said they don't want. It feels like a failure to listen, maybe driven by his own desires overriding hers.
Yeah. So the big takeaway from the witness, beyond the sheer power of secondhand embarrassment, which, let's be honest, is immense, is basically maybe, talk about marriage before you propose. And perhaps don't involve innocent bystanders who just want their damn coffee.
Sound advice. It boils down to communication and respect for boundaries. Explicit consent isn't just for some things, it's crucial for big relationship steps too.
Absolutely. It has to be a shared understanding.
So thinking beyond just the cringe factor, maybe the question for you, the listener, is this. What does this kind of public failure tell us about the difference between private commitment and public performance? And just how critical is it to truly get where your partner is at? Understand their readiness, their actual desires, long before you plan any kind of big moment.
Why I dropped out of college and finally started doing what I love.
Ever get that feeling like you're just going through the motions, following some kind of script, maybe, instead of, living your life?
Oh, absolutely. That sense you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
Doing things just because, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. And that feeling, that invisible script, is really what we're digging into today. We've got this fascinating personal story from a Reddit post.
Oh, yeah, the one called, Why I Dropped Out of College and Finally Started Doing What I Love.
That's the one. And it has this great subtitle, AKA, How a Microwave Burrito Changed My Life.
Yeah, intriguing, right?
Totally. So our mission here is to unpack that story, see how a really simple, honestly kind of frustrating moment can actually spark a huge positive life change. Find the deeper lessons for you.
And this person, they describe a pretty standard background, right? Mm-hmm. College wasn't just suggested. It was kind of framed as inevitable.
Yeah, his mom apparently said it was like the law of gravity.
Yeah.
Just go. And his dad was happy to say his kid was studying business.
Mm-hmm. That external validation piece.
Yeah.
And the business major itself was chosen because, it seemed vague enough, not a real passion.
Which is so common. So how did that vagueness play out? Where did the cracks start showing?
Well, the classic signs. He mentions this 8 a.m. macroeconomics class.
Yeah.
Windowless basement room. Sounds grim.
Yeah.
Professor had a voice that could apparently sedate a squirrel mid-jump.
Oh.
So naturally, skipping starts. Then seeing those red late warnings pile up online.
Right. Not just late for class, but like a symptom of something bigger. The path wasn't fitting.
Exactly. The friction was building. And then comes the catalyst.
The burrito moment. Set the scene for us.
Okay, so picture this. It's a snowy Tuesday. He's already late. Sneakers are soaked. Hands are freezing. And he remembers this gas station microwave burrito in his bag.
Okay. A slightly sad burrito?
Kind of. And standing there, miserable, this thought just hits him, crystal clear. Why the hell am I about to sit in a room for 90 minutes pretending to care about supply chains when I could be in my dorm, in bed, eating this burrito?
Huh. It sounds almost comical, but you can totally see how that would hit. The absurdity of it all.
Precisely. It wasn't really about the burrito, was it? It was that stark contrast, that moment of cognitive dissonance just peaking. This small, frustrating thing forced a big question.
So he turns around, ditches class.
Yep. Calls it his first guilt-free ditch. And what does he do? He goes back and spends the afternoon watching YouTube.
Okay, doing what on YouTube?
Watching people restore old Game Boys. Tapping into this thing he loved as a kid, tinkering with electronics. The moment the obligation was gone, boom, true interest surfaced.
That's fascinating. So the guilt-free ditch leads to what?
It leads to this 3 a.m. light bulb moment a bit later. He's watching a Twitch streamer build a custom PC, and he realizes he's way more invested in that than any lecture he sat through. And that sparks the big question, what if I just stopped? Stop college altogether?
Wow. But that's a huge leap from just watching videos.
Oh, for sure. He describes 2 weeks of intense anxiety mode, this low-grade churn, knowing something had to give but not knowing what.
That churn sounds familiar. So how did he break through it? How did he act?
He did something small, concrete. He bought a broken Nintendo 64 off Facebook Marketplace for $10.
Okay, a little project.
Exactly. Spent 6 hours, watched maybe 25 different YouTube tutorials, and actually managed to fix it.
Ah.
And that feeling when it powered on, he described it as, holy crap, I actually did something. That rush was the proof he needed.
That tangible success, it builds momentum, right?
Totally. So that same night, he emails his advisor, withdraws. Done.
Just like that. What about the parents? You mentioned the pressure earlier.
Yeah, that was tough. Predictably tough. Mom went into full, you're throwing your life away mode. Dad was quieter, but the disappointment was heavy. Just hope you know what you're doing.
Oof. That quiet disappointment can be brutal.
It really can. But deep down, he felt he did know. So we moved home, got a part-time job at a hardware store.
Okay, practical steps.
And just started doing the thing he enjoyed. Buying broken electronics consoles, controllers, whatever. From Facebook, eBay, fixing them up and selling them.
Turning the hobby into a hustle. Did it work?
It did, surprisingly fast. That little side income went from maybe $200 a month to $600 pretty quickly.
Right.
Enough to quit the hardware store job.
Wow. So what's the picture now, 3 years on?
It's pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
He runs his own online shop selling refurbished retro tech. He's got a regular client, a local retro game cafe that needs repairs.
Nice.
And get this, about half his income now comes from making TikTok videos of his repairs.
No way. That's amazing. So any regrets about missing the degree?
He admits, sometimes, when filling out a form or something, there's a little pang. But overall, he says zero regret. That burrito moment, as silly as it sounds, was the trigger to get off autopilot.
It really shows how these sometimes uncomfortable everyday moments, these little frustrations, can actually be signals, right? Pointing towards something more real.
Exactly. It's about listening to that internal friction, that dissonance, instead of just pushing through. And then, crucially, taking a small step, doing something.
That first small action seems key, proving it to yourself.
Definitely.
So it leaves us with a question for you listening. What's your microwave burrito moment? Is there some small, maybe annoying detail in your daily routine that's actually nudging you, signaling that maybe, just maybe, there's a different path, a more authentic one waiting if you just dared to listen and then dared to act?
I secretly hope my best friend breaks up with her boyfriend, and it's eating me alive.
Okay, let's talk about something tricky. Have you ever found yourself, secretly, maybe deep down, wishing your best friend would break up with their partner? It's this really complex feeling, right? Often loaded with guilt. We're doing a deep dive into a Reddit post, a really candid one, from someone dealing with exactly this. They actually said this secret hope is eating them alive.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here isn't just the drama, it's how it shines a light on those really subtle dynamics in the friendship and in the relationship too.
Yeah.
Our goal really is to unpack this, see how small actions can have a huge impact, and explore what it means when you just want your friend back, the way they used to be.
So let's set the scene. We have Mia, the best friend. She's described as the ultimate caregiver type, always looking out for others. And she's got this history, unfortunately, of relationships that just drained her emotionally. So 9 months ago, Aaron comes along. And initially, relief. He seems like a good guy, charming, But the friend notes something felt too polished almost right from the start, even when everything looked fine on the surface. What does that gut feeling tell us?
That too polished thing, it's often a little alarm bell, isn't it? Like maybe you're seeing a performance, not the real person. In relationships, sometimes it hides deeper issues, incompatibility, or maybe even a controlling side that only comes out bit by bit.
Which seems to be exactly what happened. That gut feeling was spot on. These little things started happening.
Yeah, like what?
Well, take Aaron's availability. If Mia suggested, say, a weekend trip, he was suddenly swamped. Just couldn't possibly do it.
Okay.
If his friends called him up for a Thursday to Saturday Vegas trip, suddenly he's free. Magically.
Selective convenience. Classic.
Right. What does that tell you about the dynamic?
It screams unequal investment, doesn't it? It suggests his stuff always comes first. And that kind of sets the stage, subtly deprioritizing Mia's time, her wishes. It paves the way for maybe more controlling behavior later, even if it's not consciously planned at first.
And it gets worse, or maybe just sneakier, These little things started chipping away at Mia herself, like Erin making these joking comments about how she looked.
Oh, the I'm just kidding defense.
Exactly. She wears this amazing blue dress, and he's like, who are you trying to impress? But then, the smirk, I'm kidding.
Ugh.
Or they're out for Mexican food. She orders a chimichanga, and he just stares at her plate and goes, that's a lot of food, babe.
Wow, and Mia's reaction?
Just laughs it off. Or defends him every time. It's like she doesn't see it, or maybe doesn't want to. What's going on there?
Well, those jokes, they're microaggressions, really, designed to subtly knock your confidence down. And the just kidding part. That makes it so hard to call out. It makes you seem like the one with no sense of humor if you object. So Mia laughing it off or defending him, it's maybe partly unawareness, but often it's a defense mechanism. Easier than confrontation, maybe. But it slowly eats away at you.
And you see the results. The friend starts noticing these big changes in Mia. Really visible stuff.
Like what kind of changes?
She starts wearing less makeup because, quote, Erin likes the natural look.
Okay.
That fever blue dress never sees the light of day. Erin said it's too flashy. She stops going to their regular trivia nights unless Erin can make it. And even when she is there, she's just glued to her phone, texting him constantly.
Disconnected.
Totally. The friend describes her as always tired, always stressed, always defending him. It's such a stark contrast to the old Mia, the one who'd dance around the kitchen making mac and cheese at 2 a.m. or send silly late-night TikToks.
Yeah, that's the heartbreaking part. You see someone losing pieces of themselves. That transformation from vibrant and spontaneous to tired and defensive, that's the cumulative effect of those little digs, those constant prioritizations of his preferences. It's not just clothes and makeup, it's her spirit changing.
Which brings us to the friend's internal struggle. It's intense. They admit feeling this ugly little thrill when Mia and Erin fight.
Right.
But they're clear. It's not romantic jealousy. Not at all. It's this desperate ache to just get my friend back. You really feel that longing.
Exactly. It's grief, really. Grieving the friend they knew who seems to be fading. That ugly thrill isn't malicious. It's hope. Hope that maybe the conflict is a sign, a chance for the old Mia to break through again. It shows how much they care, actually.
The breaking point, or at least a really low point for the friend, was this planned girls' day. Manny Pitas, brunch, wandering around Target.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. But Mia cancels it just 2 hours before. Says Erin's car broke down. But then, a little while later, Mia sends pictures of her and Erin at a burger place. Car seemingly fixed right after they grabbed lunch.
Ouch. That stings.
Right. So the friend ends up wandering Target alone, feeling like, and this is their quote, some say divorced dad, just buying random stuff. It's such a vivid image. Captures the isolation.
It really does. It's not just one canceled plan, is it? It's the weight of all the times they've been put second. Being alone in that familiar space they probably shared.
Yeah, that hits hard. It shows how much the friend was still investing.
And throughout all this, the friend feels stuck. They know they can't tell her, hey, I hope you break up. Mia has to see it herself. That's such a core friendship dilemma, isn't it? How do you support someone without overstepping? Especially when you're dreading being the awkward maid of honor at a wedding you secretly hope never happens. It's the toughest part, maybe. Knowing when to say something and when. When you just have to wait. It really makes you think about the limits, You can offer support, maybe a different perspective gently, but the realization, that has to come from them. Push too hard, you risk losing the friendship. Stay silent, it feels like you're enabling this slow fade. It's such a tightrope walk.
Yeah, this whole situation just perfectly captures that awful feeling being caught between loyalty to your friend and deep worry about the changes you see in them, knowing you can't just fix it.
Absolutely. And it really circles back to that powerful thought from the original post. I think it's worth repeating. Sometimes you're not jealous of the person they're with. You're jealous of the version of them they used to be before that person existed. Yeah. Something to really chew on, Think about it in your own life. How do we even recognize when someone we care about is starting to lose themselves, bit by bit?
My neighbor's kid said that his parents were hiding someone in the storage.
Titled, My Neighbor's Kid Told Me There's Someone in Their Closet.
Yeah, it really took off.
It did. So it's to trace how these small everyday observations built up into something truly disturbing, all based on that original thread. Okay, so picture this. Quiet suburban street, upstate New York. The narrator lives in a duplex, shares a wall with the Martins family next door. Nothing really remarkable about them.
Pretty standard neighbor stuff.
Exactly. Until one afternoon, The Martins' son, Caleb, he's 7, wanders over. He's got a popsicle half melted and just completely deadpan says to the narrator, "My mom says not to tell anybody, but there's a man in our closet."
Wow. Straight out of the gate.
Right. And the narrator is, kind of amused at first, like, okay, kid's imagination. But then Caleb adds, he doesn't talk. He just sits in the dark. They give him food.
And that's the shift, isn't it?
Totally. Suddenly it's not funny. It's weird. Deeply weird.
Mm-hmm. And those specific details, the silence, the dark, the food, that's what makes it so unsettling. It's not just a monster under the bed kind of thing. It sounds specific. It sounds real almost.
Yeah, and that feeling gets amplified like the very next day. The narrator's working from home, looks out the window, and sees Mr. Martins unloading groceries.
Yep.
But it's a ton of groceries, like Costco bulk level, huge packs of bottled water, loads of canned stuff, multiple loaves of bread, way more than you'd think for just, 3 people.
Okay. So connecting back to the food comment Caleb made.
Exactly. The narrator immediately thinks of what Caleb said about giving someone food. It just clicks in this really uncomfortable way.
And that's fascinating, right? How the brain starts connecting dots. These things that seem maybe just a little odd on their own. The bulk groceries, maybe hearing a weird thump from upstairs late one night, which the narrator did report hearing.
Yeah, a low, muffled thump.
Right. Or seeing shadows moving kind of low behind drawn blinds. Suddenly, they're not just random occurrences anymore. They start to feel like pieces of a puzzle, especially viewed through what the child said.
Definitely. And then Caleb pops up again a few days later. This time, he asks the narrator for peanut butter.
Peanut butter, okay.
Yeah. So the narrator gives him a jar, probably thinking nothing of it. But then Caleb says, just matter-of-factly, he likes peanut butter sandwiches, referring to the closet man.
Oh, wow.
And then he adds, but Mom says only me and Dad can take them to him, or else he'll be mad.
Okay, see, the anger part there, that adds a whole new layer. It's not just feeding someone anymore, it's managing them, controlling access, worrying about their reaction.
It implies a level of, volatility, or at least that the Martins are carefully handling this hidden person.
Exactly. It sounds much less like helping someone out and more like, something else entirely, something maybe coercive.
And then things get even more visceral. The narrator starts noticing other stuff. A smell coming from the Martins' house. Sour, heavy, is how they described it. Not like old garbage, but something else. Then one day, the upstairs window at the Martins is open, and the narrator hears this faint cough. But it sounds strained, like someone trying not to cough loudly.
Trying to be quiet.
Yeah. And then they see Mrs. Martin struggling with this huge black trash bag. It looks really heavy, and it's making this clunking sound as she drags it out.
So you've got sight, sound, and smell now. All these sensory inputs are just piling up, painting a really grim picture. It moves past just being suspicious.
Right. It's building this undeniable sense of dread, like something is seriously wrong next door.
You can almost feel the narrator's anxiety ramping up through the post.
Totally. And it all comes to a head one night. The narrator wakes up. It's 2 a.m. And they hear this noise from next door. A steady rhythm. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks.
Okay, that's specific.
Yeah. But then they hear a voice. A man's voice. Muffled. Sounds desperate. And it is definitely not Mr. Martins.
Oh, man.
So the narrator's heart is pounding, hands shaking, grabs the phone, calls 911, finally decides, okay, I have to do something.
And that's the real turning point, isn't it? Moving from just observing and worrying to actually intervening. Mm-hmm. It raises that question for anyone reading or listening now. When do you make that call? When does neighborly concern become, a necessary action?
Right. It's a tough line. So the police arrive, 2 patrol cars. They talk to the Martins outside for a bit, then they go inside the house.
Okay.
About 20 minutes pass. Then the police come out, and they're escorting someone else out with them. A man.
The man from the closet.
Presumably. The narrator describes him as thin, pale, moving slowly. His clothes look like they hadn't been washed in forever. They put him into an ambulance.
Wow. So they actually found someone.
Yeah. And while the Martins are talking to the police again, the narrator overhears bits and pieces, phrases like family friend and nowhere else to go.
So the official story, or maybe the story the Martins gave, was that they were helping someone out.
Seems like it, but the aftermath is just eerie. The narrator says the Martins' house went completely quiet after that, unnaturally quiet, and they never saw Caleb playing outside again.
That's maybe the most haunting part. The silence afterwards and the kid disappearing from view leaves so many questions unanswered.
Exactly. Was it technically illegal? Or just profoundly, unsettlingly weird? We don't really know.
And that's the power of the story, I think. It taps into that fear of the unknown right behind the neighbor's wall. It shows how complex and sometimes dark things can be under a seemingly normal surface.
Absolutely. So what's the takeaway here for you listening? The original poster wrapped it up like this. If a kid tells you something creepy, believe them. Or at least, don't wait a week like I did.
It's a potent final thought.
It really is. Makes you think, doesn't it? What would you do if you were in that situation? How long would you wait?
Thanks for being with us.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.